We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave those kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. Hello, Home Slices, and welcome back to Sup Media Reviews. Season 2 is here, and we're kicking things up a notch. We're diving into music, TV, and movies from over 20 years ago, plus we're kicking off a brand new YouTube series that's going to bring even more fun your way. This season is full of fresh reviews, special guests, and plenty of laughs. Ready to jump in? Let's get into this week's episode. What's up, Home Slices? Thanks so much for tuning into Season 2 of Sup Media Reviews. I'm your host, Kiara, and if you didn't know, we're back from our sabbatical and doing reviews again. We have so many new reviews coming out soon, as well as a new YouTube series coming in November. So be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest to stay up to date on the latest Sup Media Reviews news. Now, as you know, October is spooky season, and I'm excited to keep the holiday spirit going by reviewing the 1998 guilty pleasure horror film, The Faculty. This movie features a number of big stars like Elijah Wood, Josh Hartnett, Clea Duvall, Bebe Neuwirth, and even a young Ursula Raymond. Now, if any of you know me, you know I don't really do horror films, and I especially can't watch them alone, so I invited an old guest to join me, my sister Arabia. Say hi, Arabia.
What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back.
Yes, of course. Now, you may remember Arabia if you've listened to my podcast before. She is a horror film connoisseur, and she's reviewed maybe 4 or 5 movies with me already. So I'm super excited to have her here and get her first impressions, because this movie came out just a year after she was born, and she's never seen it before. So it's going to be exciting to hear what she has to say about this movie. And I know a lot of other people love it. We'll talk more about the reviews later, though. So here are some fun facts about The Faculty. This movie is Jordana Brewster, who plays Delilah. This is her film debut. She goes on to star in a number of projects, including the Fast and Furious franchise. Do you watch the Fast and Furious? And did you recognize her?
I've seen a few of them. Oh, and that's who that was. I was like, I couldn't figure out who it was. I didn't want to look up anyone's name yet. And so I was like, oh, okay.
This was her first movie ever. Now, the second fun fact is that it was on the set of this movie that actor Harry J. Knowles, who plays a teacher in The Faculty, first got wind of Peter Jackson making The Lord of the Rings into a movie. He urged Elijah Wood to go for it, even though the actor had never read the book. As we all know, Wood went on to get the starring role after videotaping his own audition, ignoring the news that Peter Jackson was largely casting British actors. So when you're at one job, don't let that job block your blessings from your next job. You just never know. Never know where that next job is coming from. Now, if you want to check out The Faculty, you can rent it on Amazon Video, or you can check out this cool resource I found online called Hoopla. Hoopla is a streaming service accessible through participating libraries that provides free access to a wide variety of digital media, including audiobooks, ebooks, comics, music, movies, and television shows. I was able to borrow a digital copy of The Faculty for free after signing up for an account with my local library card. It's a super cool resource, and Hoopla is not even paying me to say that. So you should definitely check it out. Now, let's talk about our personal connections. Again, I'm not a horror movie person, but this is a movie that I was able to stomach when I was younger. It has some suspenseful horror and sci-fi elements, but isn't super scary to me. I also remember Usher being in it and having some nostalgia around the film. Like, you know, we love 90s Usher, okay? And of course, it has some major stars in it that went on to do some great things. And it came out during the 1990s kind of horror revival where they were really focusing on teen, you know, horror films and teen slashers. And while it's not as popular as Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer, it is up in the ranks for me as one of my favorites in this genre. It has this kind of silliness and poor CGI quality that's really funny, but it can still make your heart pump a little bit. So this is my kind of horror movie. Old enough and silly enough without being overly gory or too scary. Arabia, I know you don't have a personal connection to this because this is your first time watching, but I'm curious if you had ever heard of it before or have any kind of initial first impressions you wanted to share.
I've actually never heard of it before. It's kind of funny because once we decided to watch this, I was watching something and it made a reference to this. And I was like, that's weird. But I saw Usher and I was like, okay, what's this going to be? But then I really enjoyed it, actually. So I wasn't expecting to. It kind of has a Dreamcatcher vibe to me. And I really like Dreamcatcher. And like that type of, those movies, how they feel just like Scream. It felt just like it came out of that era. And I like that. And it wasn't like too corny or bad or like past its time. I still liked it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you liked it. We're going to get into the details in just a bit. So let's talk about what's happening in this movie. The movie kicks off with some toxic masculinity at a football practice. We spot a very young Usher in this film as one of the football players, which is interesting because Usher is a fantastic dancer, but I don't picture him playing football for some reason. He doesn't come across as a football player to me. But in the beginning of this film, a unknown figure approaches a very angry Coach Willis, who is played by Robert Patrick from Terminator 2. And they don't show us anything else. The next thing we see is there's a late night meeting with some teachers along with Principal Drake, who is played by BB Newworth. And she's basically telling these teachers, we ain't got no budget for no plays, for no field trips. All we got budget for is for a football team. And apparently this is a football town and this is what people do on Friday nights. And otherwise we ain't got no money. So the teachers and the principal are about to leave. Unfortunately, she leaves her keys behind and then she grabs her keys and is weirdly approached by a very sinister football coach, Coach Willis, who attacks her John Wick style with a pencil. And she fights for her life, which I really appreciate. Arabia, what did you think about this kind of opening scene so far?
I was so glad when she grabbed her keys and like hit him. I was like, yes. I was hoping she didn't like fall and just like try to crawl away and not fight back. But she really did try. And I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes, I do too. It's interesting because that's something that we are taught as women. If like you're walking by yourself and you grab your keys and put them like between your knuckles. I don't think I've ever actually seen it like shown on, you know, the big screen. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, she runs around, tries to escape. The school has actually been padlocked, closed, but she's still fighting for her life, trying to get out of there. And she ends up encountering another teacher whose name is Miss Olsen, who is outside of the school doors kind of helping her. And like, you know, he's coming, unlock the door, grab your keys. She is finally able to escape the school and lock the football coach inside. And she had a weapon with her, some scissors. Unfortunately, the kind old teacher that was kind of helping her turns on her and kills her with the scissors and basically says the same line that the coach said when he, you know, stabbed her John Wick style with the pencil. So now we know something is up. Okay, Miss Olsen is like an older white lady teacher. She's a theater teacher, and she's played by Piper Laurie, who you might recognize as Carrie's mom in the original Carrie movie, the one back in the 70s with, you know, Stephen King's Carrie, OG. Arabia. At this point, what do you think is going on?
At that point, I was like, there's something like messing with them and they're like trying to get other people. I was like, they're trying to get her. I don't think she's going to die. I was like, they're trying to get her for some reason. I knew that lady wasn't going to help her. I was like, nah, she's not real. Something's wrong with her. Something's wrong. But she tried so hard. They played with her though. They really could have like, oh, he's coming. No, you're part of this too. They were enjoying it.
Yes. Don't trust her. Yes, for sure. So We flip to the next scene. We see that the movie takes place at Herrington High, and we encounter a number of high school kids who fit into these kind of typical tropes. We see a young Elijah Wood, who plays our kind of main character, Casey. He's a smaller kid. He gets bullied a lot in a way that is very violent and unkind. And this doesn't really stand the test of time for me. It's like the real kind of bullying that's like really
like the
bad.
whole school.
Yes,
yes, doing it.
Yes. Now, Casey clearly pines after, the hot girl, but she's way out of his league, and we'll get to her later. We see also this young emo girl named Stokely, who's played by Clea Duvall, who is clearly an outcast, who knows Casey's name, interestingly enough, and has a really tough exterior. We also see that this school is kind of rough. Like, the level of fighting and bullying is really high. We see some intimate partner violence between this couple. Like, there's this
lot going on.
School is like intense. All right, next we meet Stan, who is played by Sean Hottasy. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. He is a football jock who is dating the hot girl editor of the school paper, whose name is Delilah, who is played by Jordana Brewster. And they're clearly a bit of a mismatch, okay? He's the classic jock. She's the preppy college-bound beauty, and they just kind of aren't really on the same page. We eventually learn that Stan is planning to quit the football team to focus on academics, but when Delilah learns this, she has the most disgusting, nastiest reaction to this news.
He wasn't supportive at all.
No, like, what is the opposite of supportive? Like, whatever that is, she was that, like, times two. It's one thing to say, like, hey, I disagree with your choice. It's another thing to be like, don't be stupid. You need this football scholarship. You're not going to college otherwise, dummy. Like, that's essentially.
It's like, what else are you going to do?
Exactly.
Like, oh, wow.
Yes. And then she basically told him, stick to the stuff you know. Like, she was like, shut up and dribble, okay? Like, literally. Yes. And so we also meet a new student, a country girl named Mary Beth, who's played by Laura Harris, who is really nice and clearly does not match the rough environment of this school. She's very fish out of water, if you will. We also meet Josh Hartnett's character, Zeke, who is a small-time super senior criminal with an awful haircut, who makes money. Yes. And there was a fun fact that he was actually cutting his hair himself because he wanted to look more authentic to what a high school student might do to themselves.
Well, he nailed it.
Yes. But he makes money by selling bad fake IDs, smut, and some drug he developed to his fellow students. Okay. This drug is unfortunately called scat, which is a horrible name.
When they said that, I was like, huh? Wait.
Horrible name, if you know what that means. And it's sold inside of like a ballpoint pen to be kind of incognito, right?
Well,
so later we see that there's more to Zeke than meets the eye. This may be his second year as a senior, but he is deep in literary class. He knows quite a bit about science. So,
very intelligent.
Yes, he's holding himself back. We'll say that. So, Arabia. This is kind of the lay of the land, our kind of key characters. Does this high school resemble your high school experience at all? And do you identify with any of these characters?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. This is what I expected high school to be, because mostly everything showed this. And then you got there and it was like, no one looks like they're in their 20s. Everyone looks their age. I mean, I guess the only thing is there were cliques like the athletic and the cheerleaders and all of that, but no one really was my experience. It was just more like, oh, this isn't real life. Or for me. How about you?
Oh, first off, this school needs Morgan Freeman. Like, this school, girl, this is Fair East Side High. Yeah, but it's not my high school experience whatsoever. And if I could find any character that I could identify with even a little part of, I mean, Delilah seemed pretty focused on academics and kind of ambitious. So maybe in that way, maybe a little bit of Casey, like, because he was more timid. But overall, I'm like, I don't even know these people. Like, I don't know that I don't know someone who was selling drugs at the school. Like, I don't really know any emo people. Like, girl.
Well, there were some in my school. Yeah, there are some like outcasts, but I mean, they were nice. Or the ones that I knew.
Yeah, they're still people, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a fairy tale high school. in like a bad way.
Yes.
So later on, we move on to the teacher's lounge and we see even more stars. There's like a young Selma Hayek who plays the school nurse. There's John
so many people.
Yes, John freaking Stewart. I cannot pronounce her name. I don't think I'm going to get it right. It's Famke Janssen, who you all might know her as Jean Grey from like the earlier X-Men movies and more. The school we see is pretty resource poor. The teachers are miserable. One of them is drinking on the job. They don't have what they need. They can't even turn on the AC. Like, it looks miserable inside this teacher's lounge, okay?
Miserable. This is like the worst teachers.
Yes.
They do not like their job.
Right. And the teacher's lounge, I used to think would be lit, you know, like.
Right.
But this is the least lit lounge, okay?
It was very depressing in there.
Yes, miserable. Okay. Coach Willis comes into the teacher's lounge and we see that his face has kind of healed up after his altercation with the principal the previous day. And he is drinking water from that little water dispenser, the one with the upside down jugs. Like, he cannot put enough water inside that little triangle cup, you know, the little
thirsty.
paper cone. He was thirsty. Okay. Miss Olsen shows up to work in the teacher's lounge as well, who, if you remember, was kind of the coach's accomplice the night before. And she looks way different. She looks well put together and they are giving each other meaningful looks. Something's up. Okay. Now, we get a quick glimpse into the drunk teacher's classroom, and there's some foreshadowing in the lesson and in the subsequent connection when Mary Beth, the new girl, connects with or tries to connect with Stokely, the emo girl. Now, you really have to pay attention to know what's going on, but essentially, Mary Beth sees Stokely reading a science fiction book and approaches her trying to make a friend because she just kind of sees that Stokely doesn't really have a community or a clique around her. Stokely really isn't feeling it, and then suddenly, Delilah comes over, welcomes Mary Beth to the school, and gives us some more background on Stokely, basically calling her a violent emo lesbian, and discourages the new girl from consorting with such a student. Delilah's homophobia is not okay. Delilah is so mean.
She's like Regina George. It's like exactly what she says to Janice.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, what the heck? I hate the whole emo girl. Oh, she's a lesbian. We're just going to call her a lesbian. I'm like, wow, can't escape it in this one.
Right. We wear black on Wednesdays. Like, geez. Like, it was, I don't know. Say what you want to say about Stokely. She's very perceptive. Throughout the movie, she's noticing stuff. Like, there's stuff going on. There's things that aren't right. And she's like, something's up, okay? And she even gets suspicious when Miss Olsen asks to speak to a colleague privately, and that colleague is Miss Brummel, who we'll come back to later. So later on in the film, we see Casey on the football field where he is eating alone, has a miserable high school life, and he finds something weird on the football field when he's confronted by a super creepy and sinister Coach Willis. He later takes this specimen he found to John Stewart's class, the science teacher, and
Casey actually says something really funny. He was like, I only run when I'm being chased. And I was like, that's me.
For real. Yes.
That was pretty good.
Absolutely. So Arabia, can you describe this specimen for us that they begin to dissect in this class?
It's kind of like a very large... Wow, I'm drawing a blank. It's like a worm, like a thicker worm, like a maggot kind of, and it's like shriveled, and it's gross. It's not something I'd ever pick up and be like, oh, I'm gonna go take this inside. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna walk away from this and not think about it later.
Yeah.
Ew.
I think if I were in high school, I would assume it was like a used condom or something.
I would have just been like, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna keep going.
Yes.
Like,
But he decides to pick it up, takes it into science class, and they kind of gather around to look and see, what is this thing? Like, John Stewart is like starting to dissect it, looking at it under a microscope, kind of, you know, trying to figure out what it is. Also in class, it's clear that Mary Beth does not take Delilah's warning because she's still kind of trying to butter up, you know, Stokely. And she's like, I didn't realize you were a lesbian. You should be out and proud. And Stokely was like, I'm not a lesbian. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not. It's like,
right. Exactly. So back to this weird specimen, you know, that they're dissecting right now. Okay, so Jon Stewart and the rest of the class have kind of gathered around. They think that Casey found a new species of sea-dwelling life, which is weird because they're in Ohio. And then I was like, oh, they're in Ohio. That makes sense. So we once again see that, Zeke is a knowledgeable student. He's smarter than he lets on. And then, two of the students kind of have a scuffle where they accidentally knock over a beaker of water onto the weird worm thingy, which kind of revives it and it starts moving. And so they kind of randomly have this random aquarium with water in the middle of the classroom. So Jon Stewart puts it in the water and it kind of reanimates. It's swimming around. It develops these like red tentacle like things. And it is even able to replicate itself like quickly. Just goes from one weird worm to two.
Well, absolutely not. This isn't normal. This is enough here because something should not do that.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't care where it came from.
Exactly. It's clearly the work of the devil. But Jon Stewart is so consumed with passing on the scientific discovery and maybe getting a grant or something that his spidey senses are not tingling until one of the worms bites him. Okay. Which is like crazy.
Well, gotcha.
Right.
When he put his hand inside, I was like, don't do this. You've already touched it enough, but now it's alive. You don't do that. You don't know what it is.
Exactly. If I'm in the class and I witness this, I'm getting the F out of there. Arabia. Yeah. Girl.
I'm like, I'm gonna go to the library or something because I can't. Yes. I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, crazy.
Especially when the red tentacles came out, I was like, oh, absolutely not. That's not normal. There were so many things wrong, but everyone was just like, ooh.
Exactly, for sure. So in the next scene, Stan tells the coach that he is going to quit the football team, and the coach is super understanding, which is a clear sign that something is wrong with him. He was literally just calling the team the P word yesterday during practice. And now he's all like, as a human being, what kind of human being would I be if I, stood in your way? And he just kept bringing up being a human being. And I was like,
you're not one.
No.
Because no one says that.
Exactly. And Stan isn't suspicious enough. It's like,
she was like, thanks, coach.
Right.
Okay.
He's just happy that he's getting off scot-free, okay? Yeah. So Stan moves into like the locker room area. He low-key kind of takes up for Casey, who's about to get beat up by Usher and another jock. Usher was also not a very good person in this film either. But Stan gets in the showers, which, I don't know, after I saw the first those showers just really bother me.
Did you ever shower at school?
No. There were showers at my middle school in like the locker room. I never actually used a shower. I would just kind of like go in a stall to get changed for gym, but never actually like brought soap or like used the water or anything.
That's also something that never happened, that they always show them showering at school, which it makes sense after gym, but it's like, how do you have time? Because there's no time when we had gym to shower.
Yeah, I have no idea.
We had showers. I did use them once, but that was after school because I was staying for like an event. And which it was weird, but it was an experience.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't clean. You would need shower shoes. It's too much. Too much.
It definitely was nasty in there.
Right. So while Stan is showering, he's kind of like soaping up his face, lathering up his face so he can't really see anything. But someone enters the shower with him. At first he thinks it's Casey, but then once he's able to kind of get the soap out of his eyes, he's joined by a dying older Mrs. Brummel. She's an older teacher, not sure what subject she taught, but she did have like a run-in with Miss Olsen earlier in the thing, okay? Her skin has lesions, her scalp is peeling off.
She's like decaying.
She is deteriorating quickly, okay? Mm-hmm. Casey, who's still in the area, kind of hears the commotion and he goes off to get help. Stan tries to like be nice to her, but then she's literally falling apart in his hands.
And he's like, oh crap.
Right. So later on, we see that Casey and Stan are in the main office talking to Miss Olsen, and she basically says, Miss Brummel was on cancer meds. We thought she could make it through the school year. All this is happening while creepy ass Coach Willis is standing in the middle of the football field with the sprinklers on.
Yeah. And I was like, what cancer meds makes your scalp peel off? But okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, she basically makes them promise not to say anything to anyone about Miss Brummel's issues, which is also suspicious. So that's weird. So we also have this really weird and inappropriate conversation between Zeke and Miss Burke, who is, again, played by, I'm going to butcher this name, Famke Janssen. And he offers her condoms after offering her a laxative. Very inappropriate conversation.
Yeah. She's very meek.
She is a very shy lady who basically is saying to him, you're too smart to be here for your second senior year. And he basically like personally attacks her, and you can tell it kind of hurt her feelings. So Casey, who takes photos for the school paper, proceeds to raid the teacher's lounge with Delilah because they're looking for the school paper's new headline. Casey confronts Delilah about being such a B word and how he likes her better when she's not a B word. And there's no evidence that she's not a B word because she's been mean like literally every scene.
Yeah, she's been awful. But I like that he stood up to her. It was like, yeah, you're a bit of a, sometimes. Can you not?
Yeah, she is very crass. And yeah, she's just very nasty, mean and nasty. And I was like, yeah, you can stand up to her, but not your bullies. So they have a little bit of a moment because Delilah is like, oh, are you flirting with me? And I was like, girl, he just called you a B word. No,
I don't think so.
Come on, girl, get up. Anyways, they, kind of have this moment before almost being caught by Mrs. Olson and Coach Willis, who enter the teacher's lounge. And the kids hide in a closet that you can kind of see through. It has the little vented slats. And the teachers begin having a conversation about people being commuted. So I'm going to be using that term a lot, which is basically like they are turning people. But they said that Mrs. Brummel didn't make it and that the students are next. The kids don't know what's going on. We hardly know what's going on at this point in the story. And so the kids are watching from the closet as Coach Willis attacks Salma Hayek. He kind of puts her on this couch. His face gets really veiny. His eyes kind of roll back into his head. And he opens his mouth near Selma's ear, which begins to bleed. Delilah, of course, freaks out in the closet.
She couldn't keep her cool.
She could not. God, girl. I mean, I don't think I would be able to either. They don't know what's going on. But Delilah really freaks out when Mrs. Brummel's dead body falls on her.
Yeah, okay, maybe that one would have got me though.
From inside the closet and draws the attention of the coach. So the coach goes over to the door and Casey attacks him with a mop handle and they book it out of there and they get into the hallway and they run into Principal Drake, who looks great considering she was like stabbed to death the last time we saw her.
Yeah, she looked awesome. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting to see you again. I don't know.
Exactly. They also meet up with the drunk teacher and everybody is too calm. There is something
She's
not
like, what's
right
going
here.
on? Are you sure
Exactly.
about that? She's very calm.
The kids are trying to tell her about what's going on and she's like, oh, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, something ain't right. So they get up out of there. Okay. They run away. They end up calling the cops who arrive at the school along with Casey and his parents. Now, one of the cops is Dwayne Martin.
Martin, yeah. I was like, whoa.
Yes. He's one of the only Black people that I saw in this movie besides Usher. And this is interesting because he's also one of the only Black people in Scream 2. I don't know if you've seen it, but he does show up, in multiple 90s scary movies. Casey leads the cops to the closet where Miss Brummel's body was. And of course, it's gone. It's been replaced by a CPR dummy. And they are gaslighting Casey, okay?
Yes.
Gaslighting. They are like, it's just a CPR dummy. What you doing in the teacher's lounge? I saw them attack the nurse. The nurse is at home because she gets seizures. Like literally explaining. Yes. Literally explaining everything away. And so the principal is like, hey, Officer Dwayne, if you want to use the phone in my office to call the nurse to verify that she's okay. And he's like, yeah, that's protocol or whatever. So he goes into her office. They close the door. There's a little scuffle that you hear. And then she commutes his ass while he's in her office.
Yeah. She got him good.
She did. And this is all while Casey's parents talk about getting him a therapist. What do you think about what's going on now about the gaslighting that's happening and how quickly Casey's parents turn on him?
I was like, oh, I just knew this was going to go one way. The parents never believe the kid in these scenarios, especially when there's all these other adults saying like, yeah, this is what happened really. And she's like, oh, honey, maybe we can make you see it. Let's go see somebody. She was quick with it too. I was like, has he had any other problems before? Maybe he won't jump to that yet.
Yeah. I mean, if not having friends is a problem, then maybe.
Okay. Maybe they do know about that. Maybe.
Yeah.
His dad was also a person that's in a lot of movies. The guy who played his dad.
Yes. His name is, I literally just had it up, Christopher McDonald.
Wasn't he in Home Alone?
No, you're thinking of Tim Curry.
Yes, I am. He looks like Tim Curry. But I know that dude is also someone else. I can't think of the other stuff he's in, but he does look like Tim Curry.
Christopher McDonald is in Thelma and Louise, Quiz Show, Requiem for a Dream, Happy Gilmore, American Pie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've seen him in a lot of stuff, but none of this is ringing a bell.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a famous actor that you kind of got to rack your brain to figure out what he's been in. But again, this movie is just kind of full of stars in a way that's like actually a little weird.
Yeah.
Because if I'm thinking about other kind of teen horror slashers, I don't know if they were this jam-packed with stars.
Not
I don't know.
all the other, like the main kids usually might be a few people, like, you know, but then it's not just the kids, it's all of the faculty and the adults are like from my stuff, you know. So it was a lot. I saw Selma Hayek and I was like, whoa, what is she doing here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when Officer Dwayne comes out of the principal's office, Casey sees the look in his eyes and he's like, nah, she got him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She got him. So before Principal Drake commute Casey's mom, he interrupts and he's like, I'll go to therapy. Okay, let's go home.
Yeah.
They head home and his parents toss his room looking for drugs, thinking that he made it all up. It doesn't help that Delilah didn't answer the police officer's calls to help verify the story.
Right, because she also left him because he had fell, and he was like, wait, Delilah, she was out of there.
She was out of there. Again, not a good person. So his parents are fed up. They take away his privileges. They take his music, his porn, the phone, and essentially are like, you're going to go back to school. He was like, I cannot go back there. And they're like, you're going to go to school. Mm-hmm. They didn't take his computer though. And he does something on the computer that we actually don't see what it was. And he proceeds to try to sneak out of the house when he literally sees faculty members in the shadows outside of his house.
Yeah.
He gets startled and kind of falls out of the second story window. And right as one of the faculty members is about to grab him, his dad comes outside and he's like, what the heck are you doing? Get back in the house.
They disappeared quick. Because, like, I was like, were they actually there for a second?
Yeah. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But Casey does live to see another day. Okay, Arabia, at this point in the film, what do you think is going on?
I was like, they're trying to collect people. I'm not sure what they want to do. If it's like, okay, like, oh, it's something they want to take over. I didn't know if they had an ultimate goal or something they need to get. But I was like, yeah, they're getting people and they're collecting them up.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So Casey gets dropped off at school the next morning and is approached by Coach Willis. And Casey is like, what y'all doing? Basically, his dad is probably about to get commuted too. Okay.
Yeah.
So Delilah gets Casey and takes him to the bathroom for a chat as Principal Drake starts calling Delilah and a few other students to her office. They start to discuss next steps since no one believes them. And now that they know the police has been commuted.
Yes, because they're at the school too.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to point out that Delilah is wearing glasses and they're like, she's claiming to be an incognito. I'm like, girl, are you Clark Kent? Like,
I was like, be so serious. I was like, okay.
Right. It's like, oh, you are super unattractive now that you have your glasses.
I know, right?
Like, what? Shut
so
up.
Silly.
So stupid. Okay. So Casey suspects that it's a cult, which isn't a bad guess.
Yeah.
Back in the teacher's lounge, there is water everywhere. Okay. Everybody is so thirsty. All the teachers are so calm. They even got the AC back on. Okay. Mm-hmm. They are living it up in a way that's very weird. It's a way different energy than the miserable teacher's lounge that was there just yesterday, okay?
Yes.
So back in class, Mary Beth encourages Stokely to talk to Stan, who she has a crush on. You know, Stokely and Stan have this deep high school conversation about how he's tired of folks kissing his ass because he's a star player of the football team. I want to earn my D. I don't want anybody to turn it to an A because I got a killer arm, whatever.
Right.
He doesn't want people sucking up to him. Yeah. How honorable. Okay. He isn't even mad when Ursher becomes the new team captain. He really is letting go of that football dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's really cute.
Oh, yeah. I agree. He does come across as, you know, jock, you know, popular kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like the casting was pretty good. Each person played their roles pretty well. Yeah. And none of them, like you said, looked too old to be high school students. Like, we ain't got no... Not necessarily like 25-year-olds playing 18-year-olds here. So the weird drunk teacher comes into the classroom. He's clearly different now. He asks his students to write down their family trees, which is weird.
I was like, oh, they're trying to get the whole dang town in the surrounding area.
Exactly. The tri-state area. Because and he ain't suffering no fools. Like previously when he was teaching, kids had earphones in, you know, people weren't paying attention. But this time around, he's like, nah, get your pens out. Write down everybody you know.
He didn't even know last time where they were. What's his name? Zeke was like, we did that last class? And he was like, oh.
Yeah. Everybody turn to chapter 5. Yeah. So yeah, things clearly have changed. These kids are not suspicious enough. Okay. So there are tons of students who are lined up to go into the main office and the principal's office where they're being commuted by Nurse Selma Hayek under the guise of an ear exam. Even the police are there to help. Stokely is like, something is weird. Something is going on. Okay. We get like a couple of quick interactions that are kind of important later. We see Zeke offering Mary Beth some drugs, which she turns down because she's even allergic to aspirin. And as the two walk across campus, Zeke knows something is off with a few of the students. Like they aren't beating up their girlfriends like they used to. Yeah. And the line for the water fountain is around the block. Two guys who one of them you might recognize from that 70s show.
Oh, yeah, that dude. I was like, oh.
Yeah, the one that got into some trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. He comes up and he's like, hey, you got some more of those drugs? And Zeke is like, heck yeah, $5. And then he's like, hey, you got some more of those drugs? We'll take all of it. And he's like, hey, chill out. Like, I don't have any more on me, but he technically did have more on him. They were being weird about it. And they're like, we want all the drugs, but not in a fun way. Like, no. Yeah, something is weird. Now, Miss Burke, who has clearly been commuted, shows up and she has new digs. She has a new attitude and she rips Zeke a new one. And she's like, I'm going to stick my foot so far in your behind. Yes. You're going to be tasting my toenail polish or something along those lines.
Something like, keep the drugs out of my school. That was
basically. And Delilah ends up whisking Stan away. And Casey asks Stokely for help. And so these kind of short interactions we'll get into later. But by this point, we have a weird kind of love quadrangle going on. Like everybody likes somebody else's partner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that kind of stuff going on. So Casey talks to Stokely about all the stuff that has been happening. And Stokely is an avid reader. She really enjoys sci-fi books. And she brings up the idea of pod people from the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, Casey suggests that maybe art has been imitating life and something, perhaps aliens, have invaded the school, and even suggests that filmmakers have made fictionalized body snatchers as a way to discredit anyone if an actual body snatcher invasion happens, which I think is a really interesting concept. Do you have a favorite kind of body snatcher film?
I really like Dreamcatcher. It's kind of like the same thing where they're trying to...
Okay.
That one was good. I enjoyed that. But I do like Invasion of the Body Snatcher. It's just fun to watch that really old one. Because I've seen it with Dad. But I like...
Oh my God. With the weird dog person.
Yes, yes. So creepy.
So awful. I think the creepiest one for me is probably like The Thing.
Oh, yes. I forget about that one. That one's really good and nuts because of the location. Yeah. And they're like, we found this thing in the yard. It's like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I have, of course, reviewed Dreamcatcher before, so you all can check out that review if you would like. And yeah, it's not as good as I remembered personally, but
I liked it though.
I do still like it. I do still think it's entertaining, but there are elements of it I'm like, come on now. Let's see. Okay, so when Casey starts to bring up parasites, they meet up with Stan and Delilah and head to the science class where the weird worm is missing. Okay. Stan gets filled in on the alien theory and reveals something that I didn't notice. The students who were called into the office to get those ear exams were called in by order of influence. So the most popular students actually were called in first.
Oh.
So that way they could, it's kind of like a body snatcher MLM. Like you get really popular people and then like your downline, you know?
Yes, that's funny.
A downline of other people that you body snatch, okay? And so this explains why Stan wasn't called into the office yet, because he's technically not popular anymore because he quit the football team. So Mary Beth and Zeke go to the storeroom, which is attached to the science classroom where he plans on getting materials to make more drugs. He makes a move on Mary Beth and they kind of make out a little bit. And interestingly enough, the storeroom is right next to the science lab and they can hear the conversation about the aliens through the vents. Stan, of course, is still in disbelief because like, are aliens? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And he basically kind of breaks up with Delilah because she's awful.
Yeah.
And and Zeke comes in screaming to kind of scare them right before Jon Stewart comes in. John, by this point, is obviously a little different. Okay. Now, Zeke confronts him about Casey thinking that he's an alien.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, oh.
Yeah, he was like, he thinks you and all the faculty are aliens. They say the faculty a lot, like a little more than I care for in the film. But Jon Stewart is like, hey, is that right? And he starts acting weird. And then he literally starts like throwing the kids around the room.
I was like, you're just one of them, though. There's like 6 kids in here. I didn't know if that was the right play or not. Maybe go get some reinforcements.
Exactly. He has like some kind of super strength and he's like, this won't take long. And this fight scene is really funny to me. Like Zeke takes one of those paper cutters.
Zeke was ready.
Basically a machete,
yes.
Which I miss those things. Like there are times where I need to cut paper and I'm like, I really wish I had one of those weird machete cutting board things. Okay.
So dangerous. Yes.
But they are super dangerous. But he takes that off of its base and he uses it to cut off John's fingers on one of his hands. But then the fingers turn into more alien worms that end up going after the other students. Zeke ends up stabbing John in the eye with one of his, scat drug pins or whatever. And right when John is about to like really go after him, his eye starts foaming and he dies from whatever is in the pen. And like, hooray, drugs.
Yeah, I was like, oh, drugs are useful.
Exactly. So they head out of the area and try to escape. And now, as they're going back across campus to try to get out of there, essentially everyone in the school is turned. Yes. Everybody got a bottle of water. Everybody is quiet. The intimate partner violence. Yes, the intimate partner violence is non-existent. The cacophony, fair East Side High environment is no longer there. It's calm. It's creepy.
Mm-hmm. That was a long walk. And I was like, there is a lot of people here.
Yes, exactly. But before they head out of the classroom, Casey's weird ass grabs one of the worms from the floor.
Yes.
Let's see. It looks like the only people who have not been commuted are Casey, Delilah, Stan, Zeke, Mary Beth, and Stokely. So literally 6 kids. They all pile into Zeke's muscle car.
Like clowns. I was like, ain't no way they fit in this car.
Exactly. And this is right before Ursher can convince Stan to come play with us. Which is weird.
It was for me. You not gonna come? Like, nah, man, I got somewhere to be.
Yes, exactly. And so the police have barricaded the town so the kids can't even like drive away.
Right.
So they basically have to, because they're trapped, head to Zeke's house where he has like a nice house and his parents have like a garage or something. Mm-hmm. His parents are like off doing discoveries in Europe or something. Who knows? And he has like this lab with the beakers and the bubbling liquids. And
yes. He has a really crazy setup.
It is like, it's, I guess, his drug lab where he makes the scat or whatever. And so We find out that the main ingredient in scat is caffeine pills, which is really interesting. So we get some like weird science footage of the beakers and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, I was like, this is it's a little silly, but okay.
It is. So Zeke gets the worm that Casey picked up and he feeds a portion of it to his lab rat. The worm kind of reanimates and infects the rat through the ear, and Zeke kills the rat with his hands to dissect it. He finds out that it is a parasite that can control its moist host. The scat ends up killing the parasite because caffeine is a diuretic and it dries out the subject. So we kind of have a weapon to fight against these weird worms.
Yeah.
So Stokely, who knows kind of the lore behind the body snatchers and stuff, she says like, in theory, we just have to find and kill like the queen leader, like the OG alien, and that will turn everybody back human. Again, this is theoretical, okay? Casey makes a good point. He was like, they took over the school in like 36 hours.
Yeah.
If they get out of this town, they're going to take over the world, okay? So they really got to jump into action. Arabia, what are you doing at this point? After you find out, hey, body snatcher situation, what's your next move? Okay, are you running? Are you hiding? Are you fighting?
I would have tried to leave first, but they did try. There's like really no way to get out. Like they really buried off and carried this town. I would probably stay and fight because I feel like hiding wouldn't work. I feel like they'd get me eventually. So I feel like I would stay and like help everyone try to make it. And hopefully I'd make it out alive. I'd have some more weapons on me. They kind of like just go in with the drug instead of grabbing anything else. So I'd grab a little bit something more tactical gear or something.
There is a revolver. That's essentially the only weapon besides the little machete thing that they use outside of the drugs. So. Yeah, for sure.
What are you doing?
I probably hide. I don't want it with the aliens, okay? I really don't, okay? So, interestingly enough, the students start turning on each other because no one can tell who's an alien. And they're like, hey, do these drugs. Like,
this part was so stupid. So stupid. Keep going.
They talk about how everyone has kind of like recently undergone a change.
Yes.
Because one of the key kind of indicators that you are now infected or have been commuted is that you are different. Your personality is different. And so they're like, hey, you just quit football for no reason. And it's like, hey, you're wearing glasses. Like,
I was like, I don't know, maybe. And they got worse and just kept going.
Yes. But now they're like, hey, take a hit of scat so we can all know that we're human. Okay.
Which was crazy to me. It was like, okay, you didn't have to do that entire pen. They really could have just did a little quick bump, but they took the whole thing. And I was like, this is so bad. Y'all have something y'all have to do after this. Y'all do know that.
Exactly. This is going to make you high. Okay. Like, get yourself together. Okay. It's a decent plan because there's other household chemicals mixed into the scat. They couldn't eat it, I guess. So, I mean, they shouldn't be putting it in their bodies, but if it's an alien invasion,
they didn't have to do that much.
You do what you got to do, I guess.
At this point, I was like, one of these people aren't who they say they are. And I was thinking it was Mary Beth. Is that what her name is? Mm-hmm. Yes. I was thinking it was her. That was my guess before they all started taking it. What did you think?
I don't know, because it is suspicious that Mary Beth is like the new student in town when everything is going on. Mm-hmm. But I did also think that Delilah was being a little weird too.
Yeah. I don't know. The aspirin thing was like, that's very convenient. I don't know. My eyes were on her for that, but they all take it.
Right, because Mary Beth was saying that she was allergic to aspirin, and she was like, this stuff will kill me. Like, and they're like, we don't care.
Yeah. Take it. You're dead either way. Come on.
Right. So the guys all take it. Stokely takes it. But Delilah and Mary Beth are playing this weird kind of game of chicken when everybody already starts tweaking a little bit.
And they're laughing. I was like, bro, how are we going to fight invasions if we're all high as hell?
Exactly. Mary Beth doesn't want to take it, but they're like, nah, do it. So Delilah and Mary Beth take it at the same time, and they're like, you go first. No, you go first, basically. And then Delilah ends up wincing after putting the pin up her nose, and we see she's been commuted.
I was like, oh crap.
Arabia, Were you expecting this? And when do you think Delilah got infected?
I wasn't expecting her. I really thought it was Mary Beth. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then I think she got commuted when she didn't answer the phone. I think they went to her house and got her. Like when she left, when she first ran, I think that's when they got her.
I've been thinking about that because if the faculty showed up to his house, then they probably showed up to hers too. But then I also wondered if one of Jon Stewart's worms got to her in the classroom.
Oh.
Couldn't really tell.
Oh, in that moment. Huh. I didn't think about that. I feel like it was before. I feel like it was before all that.
You're probably right, but I feel like her personality wasn't different enough at the school. That's the thing that threw me off.
Okay.
Yeah. But if the glasses are a real indicator, then it's possible that it was the night before. Yeah. Yeah. So things get crazy because Delilah is one of them. We kind of see Mary Beth take it. And we'll talk more about that later. But Delilah destroys the lab and most of the scat supply while they're trying to figure out if they should shoot her or not. She ends up escaping and gets a ride in a car that like showed up a few minutes ago. When she busted through the door like the Kool-Aid man during her escape, that was so funny. Or when her stunt double did, that was so funny to me. Okay. Stokely tried shooting at her like a G. She came out of...
She was like, I'll shoot her. I was like, oh, she's been ready for this for a moment.
Stokely has been ready to shoot this girl for a minute. Okay. But she's long gone. Delilah leaves and Mary Beth is now giggly. Okay. They now know that they need to find
They sobered up quick too.
Oh,
mind
yeah.
you.
Yeah. They, you know, your life being threatened will do that.
Yeah.
So... Even though their supply of scat is pretty low, they know they need to find the queen. They head to the football game because this is a football town. This is where everyone's going to be on a Friday night. And an interesting recruiting event. The alien football players are beating the brakes off the other team like the Monstars in Space Jam.
Yes.
Girl, this is for sure Space Jam.
Get
okay?
infected. Like that's their mentality. I was like, Jesus.
Yes, they are infecting the players on the other teams while they're like passed out on the field, putting worms in their
Usher
ears
was
and whatnot. He was. This football game is kind of electrified too.
Yeah.
There's like
There's pyrotechnics.
Yes, it's like a
why
big
we have
deal.
No budget because you spent it all on the pyrotechnics.
Kids can't even put on a musical because you got freaking pyrotechnics down to the football game. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, and they were big too. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Girl, it's crazy, okay? The coach is happy to be commuting folks and winning the game at the same time.
He's high-fiving them. This is lit.
Yes. So now the non-commuted kids show up to the game and they're trying to figure out who the queen alien is. Now they think it might be Principal Blake. But we know it's not her because she got attacked at the beginning of the movie.
Right. I thought it was Mrs. Olsen. Is that what her name?
Miss Olsen?
Yeah, Miss Olsen. That's who I thought it was. I was like, nah, it's not the principal. It's her. Did you have a guess?
If I'm thinking back to when I first watched the movie, I don't know. I'm not sure. Because the first person that I know was infected was a coach, but he was infected by somebody else.
Right. So. And we didn't see Miss Olsen get infected. So I was like,
right.
I thought it was her.
But that's a decent guess. Yeah. So the kids head back to the school where they end up being confronted by Principal Drake. They attack her and hand Mary Beth like this scat container that they use to refill the pens. Now, Casey doesn't have the heart to stab her with the pen, so Zeke shoots her in the head. She ends up coming back to life. They are regretful at first. They're like, what if she wasn't?
Yeah.
What if she wasn't an alien? Mm-hmm. Yes, but then she comes back to life. Then Mary Beth uses the entire container of scat to kill the principal and just like covers her in it.
Dumpson. I was like, I know the adrenaline's high, but I don't know. We should have done that.
Right. And so the principal is dead.
Dissolving.
And it's like Ajax, kind of like, you have to bring sprinkled with scat Ajax. So they're trying to figure out if the situation worked. So someone has to volunteer to basically go outside and see if everyone else is no longer, infected. And so Stan volunteers to take a couple of scat pens and check it out outside.
This was stupid. I was like, there's a whole town out there that's infected. And we send one? I was like, there's 6 of you, or 5 at this point. I was like, at least 2 to have each other's backs. Like the 2 big dudes, I thought that they both should go. Why would you send one person against the whole entire town?
Yes. It's important to note that it starts to rain at this time. So the game is over. Folks are heading home. So it's not like they can see from the tiny windows in the doors that they barricaded if things are kind of back to normal. So he does decide to go out into the rain, takes a few scat pins with him. And this is not before Stokely kind of like makes out with him. And, you know, we don't do non-consensual kissing on this channel, you know, regardless of sex. But Stan is into it because we're kind of flirting and stuff. And he heads into the rain. Okay. He comes across the coach and the football team with them and their worms basking in the rain, still aliens. It's not the principal. But again, we knew that. Okay. So Stan comes back to the door, all scary like, and he's like, oh my gosh, the coach is after me. I lost the drug. I don't have it anymore. The coach is chasing me. You gotta let me in. So basically they're like, snort this. Yeah. And they give him the final remaining pen full of scat. And they're like, snort this and we'll let you in. And he opens the pen and basically pours it out onto the ground right in Stokely's face. They got Stan, y'all.
Yes, I was like, I knew it. Because there was like a whole football team out there. There's no way he got away from them. They're athletes.
Right, exactly. He tries to convince Stokely to open the door and like switch to the alien side.
Yeah,
He's literally like,
it's fun over
trying
here.
to seduce her. Yeah. Before kind of going crazy a little bit. Yeah. And so he leaves, and now we have the remaining 4 students trying to figure out their way out of this. Casey thinks that the coach is the queen alien, but they basically have to go to Zeke's car to try to find another supply of scat in the middle of this marching alien football team. Casey is the decoy while Zeke heads to his car, but Casey gets intercepted by Delilah on a school bus. She's still an alien, and she's being a meanie again and trying to seduce him like, hey, you don't want to be a loser anymore. Come with us, belong with us. He ends up escaping through the roof, the emergency exit roof.
Wait, because I was like, oh, I would have died. Yes. I couldn't have got up there.
Exactly. So he ends up escaping, and Zeke is scrambling to find more scat. He's looking in his trunk, but then he comes across Miss Burke, who again is now an alien, who is making sexual jokes toward him. Again, he is a super senior, so he is technically of age, but still inappropriate. Yeah. Now, when he tries to get away from her, he hops in the car, he drives around. She literally breaks into his car where he has like a few loosies, you know, of scat on the floor.
This part was a little silly because you came in this car. Y'all saw those, but whatever. Y'all left them.
Yes. So he's trying to reach for one, but he decides to put on his seatbelt and basically crash on purpose to send her through the windshield. And this creates one of the funniest scenes in the film because she ends up being decapitated after this accident, and her decapitated head grows tentacles.
Oh gosh.
It tries to find the rest of her body. The CGI is awful. It's so funny.
It is so silly. And I was like, okay, this is all we had. It's all right.
Right. So ridiculous. Zeke gets out of there. And so we flip back over to the gym. We got Mary Beth and Stokely talking about the queen alien and, you know, how these stories typically end, which is typically with the body snatchers prevailing. And Mary Beth starts to talk about how, you know, the aliens might be doing us a favor and how she's tired of being something she's not. And then she punches Stokely and transforms into the queen alien. She has a tentacle arm right as Casey comes back into the gym.
When they were left, I was like, Mary Beth is it. Mary Beth is one of them. I didn't think she was the queen, but I knew she was one of them, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah, Mary Beth was a little sus. Yeah, she was suspicious. But yeah, this is crazy. Casey and Stokely are in disbelief, okay? The alien reminds me of like those 4 little pesky, nasty, roach-looking aliens in Men in Black, but if they were like bigger and had tentacles and were like sea creatures. But when it crawls, girl, that was creepy.
Oh, yeah. That was creepy.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was... Yeah.
I don't care about CGI. That was...
Yes. So they end up running past the pool, and then the alien gets into the pool water and drags Stokely into the pool with her tentacles. We can't tell if anything happens because Casey is actually able to rescue her from the water, and they run while Mary Beth turns back into a naked human, which they did in this super interesting transition.
I might have left Stokely. Casey's the real one because I was like, he got you. She got you. I would have left her. I'm sorry. I would think she was a goner. Like, it's huge. It got you. There's no way you're about to make it out. So let me save myself.
Casey got a good heart. Okay. Yeah. He went and rescued her. And it was such a brief time that she was in the grasp of the alien. He got her out and he's like, girl, come on, we're going to survive this. Okay. So Zeke shows back up. Now we're in kind of like the locker room area, and he connects with like a naked Mary Beth and a clothed Stokely, where Mary Beth alien starts to accuse Stokely of being the queen alien. And Stokely's like, nah, it's not me, it's her. And so now Zeke has a gun and some drugs, and he's confused, especially because she's naked. And then when he questions her about why she's naked and how she passed the drug test, we see like a little snippet or a flashback where she closed her nostrils and released the drug from the bottom of the pen to make it look like she took the drugs, but she didn't. And right as Zeke is about to stab Mary Beth alien, we see that Stokely attacks him. And Stokely's been turned.
I was like, oh, crap. She turned her in the water. I wasn't expecting that one. That was good.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. So they end up locking Stokely up inside this weird cage thing in the in the locker room. And Zeke makes Casey take some more drugs to make sure that he's not infected.
It's like, take this right now.
Exactly. And so now Mary Beth alien is kind of being stalkery in the locker room. Zeke gets thrown across the lockers by, tentacles Mary Beth and ends up getting knocked out.
I thought it was really cool when she was in human form. Her shadow was still the tentacles. It looked kind of cool.
Girl, yes. I love that. It reminds me of like when Ursula was her human.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of in Little Mermaid. Yeah. So now it's literally Casey left, basically. Like, he got a few pins of scat that he was able to get from Zeke's unconscious corpse. And Mary Beth starts to do her monologue. Again, she's walking as a naked human and has the tentacle shadows, which I think is pretty neat. And she's like, I came from a planet that experienced climate change and dried up. And so she came to Earth where she saw how miserable everybody was. And she was like, I want to help y'all be happy. Everybody gonna be happy. And so she's colonizing Earth by making humans mindless drones who aren't like lonely and longing anymore. So she is a benevolent colonizer, apparently. So Casey says, I'd rather be afraid than an alien. So she transforms back into her alien form and chases him back into the gym area under the kind of automated closing bleachers, which is one of my like Final Destination deaths. Like,
oh, when he went in there, I was like, oh Lord, be fast, Casey, be fast.
But yeah, in her large alien form, she ends up getting stuck behind those bleachers as they close. And he stabs her in the eye with the remaining, scat pins right as he starts getting infected by some of her worms, which is something that I didn't remember happening. But I was like, like you could see the worms burrowing.
Yeah, she like projectile launched them at him. And I was like, oh.
Yes. But fortunately, the mama alien dies and so do the tiny worms. And Casey finds Stokely, who has been dewormed. Zeke, who is bloody, kind of pops up out of nowhere, but he's okay after scaring them again. So they laugh, relieved that it's over.
I wasn't too sure at first. I was like, is that enough pins for the big one? I hope so. It was like 3.
Yeah. It's like this dose is a little light.
Yeah.
So we move forward in time. It's 1 month later, and we hear a reporter saying that life has returned to normal after the faculty disappeared. It's really interesting because nobody believes that aliens were involved, despite the kids being like, girl, there were aliens.
Yeah, we got invaded a little bit.
What's interesting is that they killed the mother alien, so did all the samples disappear and disintegrate? Because they're saying that there's no evidence that there was an alien invasion. So I don't know if there's a worm sample somewhere.
I think it's all gone because it dissolved when it came out of him. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So no one has been able to substantiate the alien claim. But the kids are on the other side of this. We see Zeke, who is now on the football team and is making eyes at Miss Burke. Still inappropriate, okay? Exactly. This is one of the issues with like teen films and stuff, is like everybody has to be paired up with somebody. And it's like, no, like high school students be single.
Yes.
Let them live. Jeez. Also, he made out with an alien, so he should take some time.
Yeah.
Apparently a criminal investigation is going on. And that's where I was like, okay, so Miss, is it Burnell or the old lady who ended up dying? Is she the only person who is missing?
Yeah, I think so. She's the only one that's gone because no one else was killed. And if they were put back together. Because, like, what's her name? Head coming off and her still being alive is funny. So
it is.
I think so.
It is. Yeah, so I was like, Brummel is her name. So it's like, okay, I guess if they're still looking for what happened to Miss Brummel, that's one thing. But I was trying to figure out what other criminal charges would there be? Like, who knows? We see that Stan and Stokely are now dating, which is really interesting to see the former football jock.
And she's no longer emo. She was wearing purple. That's right. Or light purple at that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Casey is on the cover of Time magazine and the school newspaper and other publications talking about his alien experience. And he's being approached by other reporters while on the school grounds. And guess what? He's now dating Delilah, which I think is this is a movie about aliens. This is the least believable part of this movie. Why? Delilah has no redeeming qualities, none.
He thought that she was nice when she was nice.
But we never saw her being nice.
No, we didn't see it, but apparently he did. He
not even when she was an alien, she was still mean.
Yeah. I don't know. Just give it a nice
just
little
why. He can do better.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, the nerd gets the girl. Like, the brave guy who kills the alien gets the girl. And it's like, why isn't Time magazine enough? You know?
Which is weird also. But what did you save us from? Because, like, there's no evidence. I know that's what they said, but it's just weird that he's on Time magazine.
Yeah. Very strange. Okay. And as the credits are rolling, because this is kind of a happy ending, right? So the credits are rolling. We see that Jon Stewart actually sustained the injuries that he got when he was attacked. So Jon Stewart is alive, but he's now wearing an eye patch. So he's missing an eye, and he's also missing the fingers on the hand that were chopped off. So maybe that's another part of the criminal investigation, figuring out like if people sustain injuries.
Oh, the principal, she's gone because they killed her. She's the one that's missing.
Is she?
Did they show her?
Why didn't she come back? I don't remember if they showed her or not.
I don't know how the teacher came back because he dissolved as well. But she completely dissolved. And so I don't know how you would come back to that. Your body no longer exists. So
I don't know. She also did sustain a bullet wound to the head. So maybe that's part of why she didn't come back either.
Oh, but decapitation is fine.
Apparently. But like at least the head got back on the body.
On the body. And
who knows? It's possible that the principal didn't come back too. So I don't remember from the credits if we see her again or not. So yeah. Not everything is tied up with the perfect bow, but it is technically a happy ending. The nerdy guy gets the girl. The emo girl gets the non-nerdy guy. The old student flirts with the teacher. It's so inappropriate.
And the planet is saved from invasion, even though her heart was sort of in the right place. I just want to save you guys, but we didn't ask.
No,
but we didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah, just let me whisper in your ear. I don't think so. So, Arabia, what are your thoughts about the ending? Were there any standout moments or performances for you?
I enjoyed Elijah Wood. His character, it seems like he played his character really well. A lot of them did. The ending was cool. It was nice that I was expecting like a worm to be crawling by at the end or something. But the ending wasn't too bad. And they saved the day, even though it just a little loose ends that didn't make a little bit of sense. But
yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I will say that this movie had some really good actors in it. So I don't think they really left anything to be desired there. Like all of the actors did a really good job. I personally really got a kick out of the fight scene with Jon Stewart. I don't know why that was so funny. And then when like Delilah stunt double did the Kool-Aid Man thing. Yeah. That was really funny to me as well. Now, as always, we ask the same two questions when it comes to these movies. Does it hold up today? And is it worth a rewatch? Arabia, what do you think?
I think it holds up. Like the CGI is a little bad, but like I still enjoyed it, even though I've never seen it before, and so it was good to me. And yeah, I'd rewatch it later on. definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Like, personally, I think the movie only like slightly holds up. There are like a few elements that are a little touchy for 2025.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even though Zeke is a super senior and is presumed to be of legal age, the flirting and inappropriate talk with his adult teacher are not acceptable and constitute sexual harassment on both his part and Miss Burke's part. So that's not cool. The verbal abuse from the football coach and the bullying that Casey faces is really bad and violent. And I'm like, I understand that the school environment needed to be really bad to contrast to like the Stepford wife alien version of the school. But how intense it was like really jarring to me. And it feels like this really big kind of over exaggeration of like what a high school experience is like. It could be me just being sensitive, but it was like, that was a lot, Robin. Okay. So I also didn't really care for the fact that they made the actress that played Mary Beth, a high school aged alien, be naked for like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
I was like, oh, are we going to escape this without like the unnecessary nudity thing from the 90s or the early 2000s? Or no, scary movies pretty much all the time. No, we didn't. Yeah. It almost made a little bit of sense because she like ripped out of her clothes as the alien and was swimming, but we didn't actually need to see her naked. But when he was like, why are you naked? I was like, okay. Helped him figure out that she was
the locker room should be full of towels. They could have had her wrapped in a towel and he still would have seen like, girl, where are your clothes at?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just gratuitous. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so also Delilah's homophobia is not okay.
It's terrible.
It was over the top. Mm-hmm. Delilah didn't have to be so mean. They didn't give her any redeeming qualities. Delilah's character was really underdeveloped. That's probably like one of the worst kind of movie elements for me. But the CGI is hilarious. It looks a little cartoonish, but it's not too bad, especially for a movie from 1998. I also like the way they came up with some creative ways to depict the mother alien transitioning between her human and alien form.
Yes.
Like you could tell there wasn't like a high CGI budget. So they did like these kind of creative transitions, which I thought was pretty neat. Other than that, this movie is kind of self-referential in the same way that Scream was. They like would mention several movie and like literary tropes and about body snatchers or horror filmmakers or writers. So it does still have that kind of Scream element of like this self-awareness that they are a part of this horror movie genre. Mm-hmm. The story was pretty solid, and depending on your sleuthing skills, you might have been actually surprised by who the mother alien was at the end. So I love a good whodunit. Okay. And so while I don't like that Casey and Delilah hooked up at the end because she is insufferable, and I don't like the taming of the shrew trope, and she doesn't deserve Casey, there was indeed a happy ending, which is like one of my favorite things in the horror movies genre because I can't have bad dreams about a movie with a happy ending. Okay. I was for sure entertained, and for that reason, I do definitely think that it is worth a rewatch. Now, Arabia, before we move on to talking about the ratings, you have any final thoughts you want to share about this movie?
Well, I appreciate you picking this, and it was something I'd never seen before or heard of, but I actually enjoyed it. Usher was fun. He wasn't really important like I thought he was going to be, but he was throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, he was. I think it's interesting that he didn't explore acting more. I don't know if you saw, was it In the Mix? There was a movie that he did years later. I think he was a pop star or a bodyguard to a pop star, something along those lines. Awful movie.
I don't think I saw that, but I know it is. He was in Moesha.
He was in Moesha?
Yeah.
He could have explored acting a little bit more, I think. If anybody didn't do a good job acting, it might have been Usher a little bit.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ratings. Arabia, what do you think the critics and audience rated The Faculty on Rotten Tomatoes?
I think this is out of 100, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think the audience might have rated it around like a 60. I think Rotten Tomatoes probably gave it like a 40.
Okay, you're kind of in the neighborhood. Both the critics and the audience gave it 57%.
Okay.
Now, personally, I think that's too low. It's like a really fun watch for me. And again, it's not as popular as some of the more iconic kind of 90s horror slasher situations. But I'd give it like an 80%. I really enjoy this movie. It's fun.
I enjoyed it. I would give it like a 70-ish. I didn't expect the audience to be the same as the critics. I knew the critics were going to not rate it the best, but 50 is not bad though.
Yeah, what do the critics know? So yeah, all right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to our review of The Faculty here at Sup Media Reviews. I want to say a special thanks to Arabia for joining me today. Arabia, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. Thanks for inviting me, and I can't wait to come back for another one.
Yes, of course. Of course, we will have you back for another episode sometime later. So you all should definitely be on the lookout. I'm really happy that I got to do my big sister thing and expose you to an underrated 90s teen horror classic. Okay?
Yeah, you did.
And you, of course, are welcome back anytime. Listeners, let me know what you think about The Faculty. Does it hold up for you? Did you rewatch it recently? Do you agree with the Rotten Tomatoes ratings? Share your thoughts on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Join us next time for a special episode where I and a special guest will be reviewing Jaws in honor of its 50th anniversary. You won't want to miss it. Peace out. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Sup Media Reviews. New episodes drop just about every week, and our brand new YouTube series is coming your way. So make sure you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook so you never miss a thing. Got a movie, album, or show you think we should review? Send it our way. Until next time, keep watching, keep listening, and just chill till the next episode.